Yeah, man. Famous cartoonist Art Baltazar. As you see, Abraham Lincoln is with me, and we are watching, and you are watching. Famous cartoonists draw at night. They draw at night, by night. We're all here together, man. Buy their comics, buy my comics, shop.
It's the Cartoonist by Night show with our very special guest, Mr. Brian Lynch. Welcome to Cartoonist by Night. I am your host, Anthony Laatsch. I am joined here by the co-creator and artist of Happy Astronaut, Matt Rodgers, as well as D. Brad Gibson, and our very special guest, as we heard Kermit announce, we have Brian Lynch from Hot Wing of Justice. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, everybody. How's everybody else doing here?
Excellent.
Awesome.
Good.
So this is another one of our Oh Yeah Comics related guests. Myself and Brian Lynch had met kind of digitally through Art Baltazar and Oh Yeah Comics and Word Balloon, chat and live shows and all that stuff. We would eventually meet in person at Oh Yeah Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie. And we had him on the Crimson Cowl Comic Club as well. So if somebody wants to see an interview to go more in depth with what we're going to be talking about here today, you can check out his interview at the Crimson Cowl Comic Club. But Brian Lynch is an artist. He is the creator of Harold and his Hot Wing of Justice. And it was just the right moment to bring him on to Cartoonist by Night. So we are so happy to have you here.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate being invited. It's nice to finally again, like you say, the all yeah faces, voices, and everything to everybody. I've heard your guys' voices.
Yeah,
thank you so much for doing this.
Definitely. And so what we're going to do here for this show, when we bring a guest on, we reached out to you, and you're going to have to confirm this for everybody that I did not give you any money. I didn't, sway you in any way possible on what topic to choose. Everybody knows watching this because it showed up in the intro. But right here, right now, let us know what our topic is for tonight.
Mop pets. So I always envisioned my dog as a mop. And I'm sorry, the Muppets. Gotta do the Muppets.
So yeah, once you did that, I'm like, okay, this is going to be right up my alley. And I think a lot of us here, we're going to have a lot of fun. So what we're going to do, we like to kind of go around the horn and kind of discuss what we're going to be drawing here today. Let's jump over to Matt Rodgers. Do you have any idea of what you're going to be concentrating on tonight's Muppet topic for drawing?
Well, so I got my phone and I did a Google search for Muppets for like reference. And it's funny because it says Muppets are a musical ensemble. That is their classification on Google.
Nice.
Which is real bizarre. But no, I think I'll probably do a whole bunch of things and then settle on something. Right now, I'm going to try to do Kermit in a rock star pose, jamming out on a banjo.
There we go. I like it.
Put him in a Taylor Swift outfit.
Ooh,
that'd be awesome.
A Kansas City Chiefs jersey.
I get that reference. So we a couple weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have though. Let's jump over to D. Brad. How many? Instead of saying what Muppets you're going to be drawing, like how many Muppets do you think you're gonna, punch out tonight here? How many are you going to see?
I don't know. At least 4.
At least 4. And do you have any some go-tos that you're going to start with just to kind of introduce it for the first one?
Well, I've been drawing Muppets since I was 4 years old,
Mm.
and my first comic books I made when I was a kid were starred the Muppets, and so I had a lot of practice drawing them growing up, and in fact, they influenced my drawing style. A lot of my characters look like they could be Muppets, and so. But I'm going to start off with Gonzo in a superhero outfit flying, just
Awesome.
like this.
Beautiful. And you had referenced the Muppets that you drew as a child. I have those photos queued up. So later on in the show, we're actually going to see those drawings. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump over to my screen here and to continue on with my Winter Muppets series that I've been posting on my social media art accounts. And I'll show off the image later on in the show. I reached out to my friend Emmett. He is a huge Muppets fan, and I asked Emmett who I should be drawing tonight, and he goes Statler and Waldorf.
Oh,
So
perfect.
I am going to introduce these characters into my Winter Muppet series, but do it grumpy old men style.
Oh, nice.
So yes, I'm going to have some connecting cards here, but going off of the Grumpy Old Men poster, DVD cover, and such. So that seemed like a natural fit. So that's what I'm going to be working on.
Yeah, that works.
And let's jump over.
Tiny.
Yeah. Usually, I've been working on the 4x6s here on the show, but for the Winter Muppets, I wanted to keep them in the same size as the other series. So
Yeah.
I debated putting them on one bigger card, but yep, I'm going to go try to do 2 of them tonight. Brian, you're the one that selected this topic, and do you have any idea who you're going to be drawing today?
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, I've already done like Statler for like National Puppet Day. I've done some of the other Muppets, and I wanted to try to incorporate Justice with Super
And
put them together.
I'll just jump in real quick. Your audio started to go out on us a little bit. I don't know if the others experienced the same thing.
Yeah, yes, I did.
Yes.
All right, how's this? Any better?
Way better, yes.
Yes.
If you want to repeat, you said you've done some of the other Muppets in the past, but who do you think
Right.
about for tonight?
I'm going to incorporate Super Grover and Hot Wing of Justice, kind of pair them together in some kind of one panel adventure of some sort, and see where it goes with it, because I've never drawn Super Grover before. Like I said, I've done some Kermits, I Wilkins and Watkins, Statler. So I'm gonna go with the Sesame Street guy and go with Super Grover.
Perfect.
Excellent. All right. So, yeah, we can just jump right in. And as we go throughout the episode, we're going to be talking about Muppets as well as learning more about Brian Lynch. But as we're drawn along, I kind of want to start off with if you had to pick a favorite Muppet, and that could be any tier of Muppets, whether it be Sesame Street, Muppets proper, any, Muppet related adjacent projects. Brian Lynch, do you have an all-time? It's a big question. Do you have an all-time favorite Muppet?
Sure. While I'm at it, why don't I tell you who my favorite kid is? And I don't think you can have a favorite Muppet. I think that a lot of the different Muppets, whether they're the Sesame Street, the Muppet Show, the commercials, whatever it is, I think they all kind of represent different parts of your personalities. And so, I mean, I have some favorite Muppets. I've always liked Statler, Kermit the Frog. I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of Jim Henson's early work. He did these commercials for Wilkins Coffee Company. And
Yeah.
Wilkins and Watkins.
And those things are messed up.
Yeah, right. I remember my daughter was probably about 6 or 7, and I found them on YouTube. And I'm watching them. I'm like just kind of hanging out in my room so as not to bother anybody else. And next thing you know, this little body flops next to me. Hey, Daddy, what you doing? I'm like, I'm just watching these things. And now we're both laughing at them. And I'm like, okay, my wife might be upset because they're violent, but it was a matter of I really fell in love with that style. Rolf has always been one of my favorite guys to, just something about Rolf being one of the early Muppets. I don't know, but
Okay.
it's a lot of the Muppets. I can't. I don't have a favorite. I like them just in general. How about you guys?
Well, let's jump over to Matt Rodgers. Do you have a go-to favorite Muppet?
I mean, it's Kermit. Like Kermit is one of the only characters that I know 100% in my brain is fake and not real. But whenever Kermit the Frog is on screen, like that is 100% like a being that exists in real life.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like you can even show him with a hand up his butt, very clearly being controlled by a human, and I'm just sitting there staring at Kermit like, yeah, that's a dude.
Yeah. Anytime you see him on talk shows and everything like that, like, yeah, you do treat him like he's, just like, Ed McMahon that's right next to him and Johnny Carson.
Yeah. He even hosted the Tonight Show in the. He sat behind the desk and hosted it back when Johnny Carson was the host.
That's awesome.
And there's also clips of Jim Henson being on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and he's holding Kermit. And Kermit,
Yeah.
you can see his hand controlling him, and you can see his mouth moving, but you still think Kermit's real.
Yeah,
Just
I,
like
I
Matt.
watched I watched that clip a lot. I'll find myself a
Yeah.
couple times a year going back to that interview and just seeing the comedy styles of but yeah, like you said, you're just looking at Kermit the entire time.
Yeah.
And I
Uh,
think that's what made it so good is he was able to make you forget he was there because the Muppets always had some great personality to them.
Yeah.
exactly. D. Brad, do you have an all-time favorite Muppet?
Uh, I like any combination of Jim Henson and Frank Oz.
Yes.
So them together is gold. So Kermit with Fozzie, Kermit with Miss Piggy, Kermit with Grover. When he was on Sesame Street, Grover would see Kermit and he'd go, "Hello, Froggy baby!" And he'd go running up and smack him on the back as hard as he could. And so yeah, I love those two guys together. Any combination of those two, they're my favorites. Um, and Bert and Ernie, of course.
Yeah, that's another thing too. That another clip behind the scenes of I think it's for the original Muppet movie with
Yeah,
yeah, they're out there at the farm and they're talking to the cows
yeah,
and stuff, and
yeah.
it's so great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, just seeing their unscripted banter, back and forth, and it's
Yeah.
genius. All right. Now, my favorite Muppet, I got to cut back to my video here. This is something that I wear at all my convention tables, is my Sweetums Hawaiian shirt, which gets several compliments every show. I think I get more compliments on the shirt than I do for any of the artwork I'm selling at the table, but that's okay. The shirt is awesome. But yeah, the Sweetums shirt here, Sweetums is easily my favorite Muppet, and that mostly is rooted back to being a kid and actually being afraid of him and
Oh
seeing
yeah.
like there's a couple of the big Muppets, like the big blue guys and things like that, and
Mhm.
the Muppet Show when you see the pink guys, the huge hands, and they're all like walking in the beginning there.
Yeah.
But Sweetums, especially from the original movie, and just seeing just how much larger he's a literal monster, and much especially in the movie, you just see him most of the time in the actual story part. And I would remember just kind of sitting outside of the living room and just kind of peeking in. Like I was still curious about Sweetums, but still I'm just like, I don't know, like these big scary monster. He's got a big nose and a big mouth, and I'm sure he's like swallowed some other Muppets in some sketches, things like that.
Yeah.
And I would always be fascinated, but I would always kind of watch from afar, just being like, all right, I like this guy, but I'm gonna keep my distance a little bit, you know. It'd be like if you're fascinated with sharks and just be like, well, I like looking at sharks. I don't need to go hug a shark anytime soon. But but yeah, so then, you know, growing up, and then I would just embrace Sweetums even more, and I would start watching him from the recliner now. I would actually wouldn't have to watch him from the other room now. So yes, Sweetums it is.
He's awesome. Like when he crashes through the movie.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Have you ever been to the Disney World Muppets 3D where Sweetums actually
Yeah.
comes out?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like a cool experience.
That was, yeah, seeing the whole old Muppet Theater in person.
And it'd be amazing to see. I have not witnessed that myself.
Oh, spoilers.
I think
And now I never will.
how I feel like I've seen it all.
And
All
that
right.
was Brian's first and last appearance.
There we go. This is our shortest episode yet, I think. Okay. As we dive
Is
into
it-
the next portion of the show, I do want to give a up top shout out to bevcam.org.
Oh, yeah.
My friend Michelle over there puts these episodes on at night through their public access station at Beverly, Massachusetts. So people in Beverly right now are hopefully watching us draw and talk about the Muppets. And if you like what you're seeing, feel free to go to the YouTube channel and hit subscribe and share and tell a friend. But yeah, I just want to give that shout out to bevcam.org. Thank you very much for broadcasting this cartoonist show out into the world.
So I have a question for the
Absolutely, thank
Muppet
you.
experts. Is Kermit canonically left or right-handed?
Ooh.
Because if you do a Google search for Kermit Banjo, there's screenshots of him playing left-handed, there's screenshots of him playing right-handed, there's backpacks where he's playing left-handed, there's puppets where he's playing right-handed. I don't want the fandom to come after me and be like, can't believe you drew Kermit playing the banjo right-handed, you freak.
Well, maybe he's ambidextrous.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would imagine that a left-handed banjo has to be pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do not know.
that's interesting. I'm not aware of that. So
I would reference the very first time he played the banjo. I don't
Would that be
think he
the
ever played it except in the
opening?
Muppet movie.
Yeah, the opening of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, it looks like I'm good then. If he's both, then he's both.
if not, otherwise I might be able to reverse your image in post, and we'll see if we can. I don't know. Anyways, so as we go into this next portion here, let's learn a little more about Brian Lynch. Once again, I said that we had him on the Crimson Cowl Comic Club, and we heard about kind of the comic reading side of things. And, you know, we could still talk about that here, but with this being a cartoonist show and dealing with art and everything, can you kind of talk to us about your artistic journey on whether it's something that started when you were a kid or in your adult life? Feel free to kind of let us and the world and Beverly, Massachusetts know where Brian Lynch started as an artist.
I mean, I do remember drawing as a kid, being that you know, me and my friends always liked comic books and everything. We would try to draw the different superheroes. We'd come up with our own stuff. I'm sure many a margin of my school notebooks has a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in there somewhere. And but I never thought of it as anything more than just doing doodles and sketches and just having fun with it like that there. And not until probably about 3 years ago, when the idea of Harold and His Hot Wing of Justice came about, did I actually start thinking about publishing my own stuff and coming up with my own character. And I'm surprised at how many characters kind of came along the way as to just stuff that I've thought of is your drawing and everything else. So the quote unquote professional side of it is relatively new, but I've always loved drawing. Like I said, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles I always found was one of the easiest things for me to draw, and also most fun because who doesn't love a ninja that has a sword and a sai and everything. So
And a shell.
I have shell.
Yeah, true. Now you mentioned Harold and his Hot Wing of Justice. I'm going to cut over to my first share screen thing to kind of set you up to kind of let the audience know who we are talking about when we talk about Harold. And I just have to find it on my sheet here, and it's somewhere. How about you start talking, and then I'll find the image.
All right. Well, I mean, as far as doing it professionally, I reached out to Art Baltazar. Said, "Hey, I got this character. Think he'd kind of fit into the Oh Yeah Comics kind of universe. What do you think?" He said he liked it. He wanted to, use it. And as I was waiting for it to kind of manifest itself there, I started drawing, and then I felt confident enough. I had come across the Canadian Over, and so I felt confident enough to start posting on Instagram. And the journey there has just been phenomenal. Followers and everything, and it was actually through Oh Yeah Comics. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's the first hero I drew. It's far cry from what you see today. I guess success has allowed him to gain a little bit of weight. He's learned to make his hot wing a little bit larger and everything. And I look at this and I can't help but chuckle a little bit.
So yeah, so character that you basically do, I would say almost daily, if not 100% daily, because there are a lot of images. It feels like there's never a day that I go on Instagram and I see Harold pop up. So can you kind of talk about your enthusiasm and how you started doing your kind of daily kind of Sunday strip type of inspired post?
Well, I mean, it was a matter of I absolutely felt like I had to do this thing. Like by the moment that I stopped doing it on a daily basis and everything, that I'd lose followers or I'd lose interest or I wouldn't have the algorithm. But we all know that's kind of luck in some points, and so I wanted to do a daily thing, and then I remember reading, the Sunday funnies from Peanuts to Garfield to everything else, and I'm like, well, why can't I do that? Why not just, throw out a Sunday comic strip, whether it's a short little 4-panel kind of a thing or just a one-shot dad joke kind of joke. And so I've been doing. I don't know how long the Sunday funnies has been around, but I know I've been doing it. I'd probably say better part of a year at the very least, and just enjoying it though. Sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes, like one of them, I remember didn't know what I was going to draw that day. The family and I had gone out for breakfast, and we're sitting there looking at the menu, and I forget if it was my son or my daughter who looked at the menu and said, "Dad, look, this restaurant's got special for Lincoln berries." I'm like, "Lincoln? No, it's Swedish. It's the lingonberries that you guys like." And they're like, "No, Dad, look." And sure enough, it was spelled Lincolnberries on the menu. Well, I had my inspiration for that particular Sunday funny, and a lot of other ones have come up similarly.
Awesome.
Lincoln berries.
It's great to see when inspiration strikes and it can come from anywhere. And now look at you now.
It's been a cool, fun journey, and D-Brad, I've listened to a lot of what you've said as to how you've been drawing and creating your characters over the years. Matt, with what you guys are doing with Happy Astronaut and everything, it's just phenomenal. So I think if anyone can understand, you never know where the creative idea might strike or come from, and everything, and it's there.
Yeah. It's like I don't know if you guys have read or listened to the audiobook for Rick Rubin's The Art of Creativity.
Oh yeah, no.
It's really good.
No.
And he talks about it and that, and I think it's him that mentions that like ideas are like fishing, and like you have to have your hook out and you have to be ready to catch whatever idea the universe is going to throw at you. And sometimes you'll catch one that you don't know what to do, so you throw it back. And then because the universe is the way that it is, sometimes somebody else will catch that fish. And that's why you always have those weird moments where you'll have an idea in the back of your mind, and then all of a sudden you see it announced somewhere else that somebody's making that exact thing that you thought about.
Right.
Oh, that's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense because I had this idea of this guy kind of hearing this, like, I don't know if it was like a TV ad or a radio ad or something about, becoming like an astronaut, and just working at a crappy job, and I'm just like, oh man, if I have this, what could I call him? Maybe, ecstatic astronaut. And I'm thinking like, all right, I got it. And I started kind of doing some simple sketches, and then all of a sudden in the previews catalog, I see this comic from Keen Spot Entertainment called Happy Astronaut, and then I just crumpled up the paper, and threw it in the waste bin.
Ugh. Some other idiot stole my idea.
Is that true?
I will neither confirm nor deny. All right, so to go back into Muppet mode here, I've got many a share screen, and now while we're still on the topic of Harold, as he is the main reason why Brian Lynch is here, we're going to find out some other creations and talk about that later on in the show. But I want to show off some Muppet related stuff that Brian has drawn. So I dug through his Instagram, and since he posts so much art, it got to the point where I just like started falling asleep because it's just I was on day 7 of just keep scrolling through his pages.
A little later.
So here we go. You should all be seeing a little happy birthday Kermit. So you had
Oh.
mentioned your crossovers and your mashups and your tributes and such. So I'm assuming this was for Kermit's birthday.
Yeah, that one, looking at Harold and everything. So how old is Kermit now? Because the cake says 67. So yeah, definitely. I like to celebrate character birthdays sometimes as well as real life people's birthdays. So
Excellent. And let me just go back into here. I have everything open, so I just have to find my share screen window to.
when the kids were younger, I'd always try to like, especially for like Dr. Seuss Day, we'd always have like themed dinners, and the obvious was green eggs and ham, but like for the Cat in the Hat, it was a strawberry and banana like stick that was shaped like the Cat in the Hat. I've done
Speaking of,
orange. See, that's
okay.
actually one of my favorites.
Okay.
oh, all right.
All right.
And I think this was because Jim Henson was born on the same date that Dr. Seuss had actually passed away. Not the same date, same year, but and so I always try to make some kind of a mashup for September 24th.
There you go. And then I happened to find some Elmo as well. Once again, another birthday tribute.
And this one's got a little that was right when Elmo was having the fight with the Rock over the cookie. And so that's why Hero's giving him a piece of paper, because we all know paper beats rock.
I heard, I saw something, I didn't investigate it, but Larry David apparently attacked Elmo at the Today Show. But
Yeah.
Really?
At the time of this recording, I know he's advertising the final season coming up for Curb Your Enthusiasm. But yeah, I just saw that image and I'm like, okay, what is going on here?
yeah, I didn't look into it though.
All right. going back to the images, we're sticking with some more Sesame Street. We have some Ernie and Bert, or Bert and Ernie, depending on
Fun.
the way you say it. So yeah, once again, just seeing your mashups, like it was fun, just like scrolling through and kind of revisiting, you know, a lot of these that I've been seeing, and then just kind of seeking out the Muppets and Muppet related, you know, characters and such. And so it was great to just like keep finding more, just being like, all right, I can see why he picked the Muppets, and could see it being a big inspiration here.
Yeah.
You're like strolling like this guy's a freak.
Yeah, thought I liked the Muppets, but
Jeez.
I do have, I think, 22 images that I queued up because I looked at my catalog and I'm like, okay, I've drawn some Muppets. It's almost to the point where I'm like, I gotta figure out how to draw other things. This one here, I think I have two more in the Muppet realm from Brian. So let's cut over to Emmett Otter. Emmett Otter.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. And do you have any a specific attachment to Emmett Otter at all, Brian, that you want to speak of?
That one is a newer attachment. It's like in the area that I live, they actually had a live show with Emmett Otter, and they were doing
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh, yeah.
advertising for it. And I was like, you know, I don't think I've ever really done anything Emmett. I've done like some Wilkins and Watkins stuff. I've done Sesame Street, obviously. I've done like the Muppet Show stuff. And I just wanted to go kind of outside what I was used to on this here. And just such a cool little special that he did. And so that was the inspiration for it. Is I watched the special and decided that that's what I wanted to draw.
Yeah, I
And
heard
there's
about that show, and I heard about it too late, and then I looked at it, and then I was just too tired to like go to a show the next day and drive and all that stuff. But I was looking at pictures and videos and stuff from that production, and that was pretty sweet.
there's
Yeah, and
there's another special aired around the same time or maybe a year before where Kermit is the host of it, and it's before the Muppet Show, and he introduces it's the musicians of Bremen, and there's a rooster Muppet in that one that I recall, and a donkey in it. You could probably find it on YouTube, at least clips of it. But yeah, it was just like the Emmett Otter. It was prior to the Muppet Show, but it had Kermit as the host at the beginning. Both of them.
see, I thought you were going to go with the special that he did, where Kermit did the same thing. He pretty much introduced this toy room, and I think it was called the Christmas Toy.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's at
yeah,
the
that was the name,
beginning
yeah.
and everything, and it you know, similar to what we know as Toy Story now, whereas the kids can't
Yeah,
see the toys alive and everything. And
right.
but it was sad in this one here because if they caught him alive in this one here, it's like that was the end of it for the toy.
Right.
So at least in Toy Story, you know, when they came alive for Sid, they scared him, and no one's going to believe that these toys had talked.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing that too.
Yeah, that
Well,
Christmas toy that used to scare the crap out of me when I was a kid.
when I was a kid, I was terrified of my Bert and Ernie puppets I had. They're about the size. They would sit on my shelf, and at night it looked like they were talking. I don't know, because you close your eyes, you see little dots in the blackness, and it looked like they were talking to each other. And so I had to have them, somebody come in and just put them to bed, like lie them down on the shelf so they wouldn't keep me awake at night. Yeah,
And I don't know if
I
it's
could
the same
scare them.
ones, but I used to have Bert where the head was like the hard plastic, and so were his hands, and he had a little plastic thing that you would control his little like
Mhm.
foam arms and everything. Same ones
Well,
or similar maybe?
it came it came out in the early 70s. So when I don't remember being able to control his arms, but yeah, he did have a hard plastic head, and the
Right.
hands were hard plastic, and there was foam in the arms. Um,
Yeah, so it's the same thing because I
yeah,
remember it came with a plastic, almost like a loop that you had to go over Bert's arm width,
Okay.
and it would come around his arm, so you can kind of simulate, what they
Yeah.
do on the Muppet Show or whatever, or
Yeah.
Sesame Street.
Now, I have one more very recent mashup and tribute that Brian did that is Muppets related, and it'll go into our next kind of bigger Muppet topic that I have set up. And we are talking about a very special birthday at the time of this recording, just happened a day or two ago. But
Oh,
Guy Gilchrist. So we had Harold and presenting a little gift there for a Guy. You want to talk about this? And yeah, let us know about it.
It was really cool. I met Guy at a local Comic Con, and I thought it was just a couple years ago. But upon finding the sketch that he did for my daughter, I realized it was 7 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So, and he's got just the best stories. He's just got the best attitude. He's actually worked with Jim Henson, for those who don't know, like with the whole Muppet comics. And he also does the comic strip Nancy. And when I saw that his birthday was approaching, I absolutely wanted to tribute something for him because he is just kind of, I think he's really helping keep the Muppet legacy alive for like a lot of kids who might not have seen the Muppet Show or and know something outside of oh yeah, exactly, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think he really, helps keep it around and keep it alive, and his enthusiasm for the Muppets is just phenomenal.
Yeah. I used to read that in the paper every day. That.
oh man,
I
show
Oh,
just
the
nice.
show the show the strip, Anthony. Show the strip.
I know Rogers wants to see it again, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I grabbed one of the books. I'm not sure if it's in this one or not. So,
Oh yeah. I asked him if he was um if the what was the um I heard that there's talks. Maybe you said it, Anthony, that they're coming out with a book collection. They're trying to.
so yeah, when we had talked
Yeah.
about that recently, he had brought it up. I think whether it was on Twitter or Threads or Instagram or something, but he he said there's nothing official, but he was kind of asking people if who read the comic strips or who has these little books, and showed off
Mm,
the digest collection that I'm holding right here,
yeah.
and said that he would love to see all of them because these ones don't print everything. I don't know if all of them
Right.
have been printed in digest form collected, because I think there are some that repeat within from volume to volume. But so I guess the best thing we can do is just kind of hold out hope and spread the word, and show that there's interest in it. But yeah, that would be amazing if they came out
Yeah.
with.
I sent him a message on Facebook,
Mhm.
and he answered it
Oh, awesome.
about. He said it's in the works. He said.
Is that right? Okay. So yeah,
I'll have to check the exact wording though.
yeah,
There's no
because I
exact no date yet.
sure. Yeah, and I think when he had brought it up, I think it was just kind of being like, all right, who would be interested in this? So maybe something, buzzworthy happened from that. But I can second everything that Brian had said, because meeting Guy Gilchrist at the Fan Expo Chicago in August of 2023, and he's a rock star. That guy has the rock star appearance, the vibe. There's a lot of people like waiting in line, and just waiting and listening to those stories. I got to see him draw out how he came to do the animal version of the Muppet Babies, thinking that animal was too scary, and showing us the adding the bonnet and doing what he needed to do to still keep animal the way he looks, but make him less scary and make him a baby and everything. And it was cool just like seeing that in person. And he was sketching that out on the back of somebody else's print. Unfortunately, it wasn't on the back of my print, but yeah, it was so cool to like see that in person, and looking at some of the original comic strips because he was selling some in at his table, and I didn't have the funds to buy a strip of you know decades old art paper there, but I sought out then all of the digest, and I was able to just devour the comic strips. And these are just a ton of fun, and I would be first in line to grab an omnibus of it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And you see the paintings he does on guitars of the
Yes.
Muppets?
He had
Yeah.
a few of those at Cincinnati that he was selling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
he had them like sitting on his table, just on like guitar racks. They were really cool.
Wow.
I think he actually sells them through some like music shop out in Nashville and
Oh yeah.
stuff. Because I've seen like he's at this guitar shop and everything several times throughout the year. So
And I,
really cool stuff.
yeah, I want to say he maybe lives in Nashville. I know he had recently posted an awesome photo with Dolly Parton, and I think he had worked with her in the past on something. I don't know if he had done some cartooning work for, some sort of project or something, but he had an awesome photo with Dolly. And he's, yeah, Jim Henson's cartoonist. He talked to me, told me a story about going to dinner with Mort Walker and Charles Schultz and Jim Henson, and I'm just like, oh, like just for me to be next to this guy who was also part of that element, like I felt like I was a rock star.
Well,
And
what's
I
cool
did.
is he's genuine about a lot of what he says
Oh
too,
yeah,
and he's not. It's not like he's telling you the story and bragging like, "Yeah, I got to." No, he's got a passion and a love for it.
exactly. And what's cool is that Guy Gilchrist has actually said the words cartoonist by night because I was wearing our shirt. And when I walked
Oh
up to
really?
him, he was the one that addressed it. And he just goes, "Are you a cartoonist by night?" And so then I started mentioning him what the show was and everything. And then he goes, "I usually refer to myself as," I think he said something along the lines of like a cartoonist all day, every day or something. And then I explained, I'm like, oh, a lot of us, we'll have our day jobs so that we cartoon by night. And then
Yeah.
I showed him my Sweetums drawing. And I recently kind of thought about that when I was looking at my photo with him, where I'm like, man, I'm like, the courage I had to just be like, it'd be like, hey, Michael Jordan, let me show you how I shoot a pointer. Like, like I was thinking about like how I did not hesitate, and he complimented and he had a good laugh. I'll show it because I do have that image queued up. So I've drawn Sweetums, and I wanted to do a mashup, and I tried to think of a nice phrase, and I'm like, all right, Sweetums Caroline. So I mashed them up with Neil Diamond, and so
That is fantastic.
I got a good chuckle from him, and whether it was genuine or not, I believe it was genuine. But that's how I'm telling the story. But afterwards, I'm thinking, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, why did I just like, here? Can you see? Watch how I draw the Muppets. And I guess he just had that very inviting attitude, and I was super excited to, you know, be around him.
Yeah.
Like, let me.
And I like where you have your signature.
Oh yes, let
Yeah.
me get back to that. There, that honestly was a very careful decision, and
Yeah.
for those watching at home here. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if people will see this on the screen, if this works. Oh, here we go. Um, there we go. So yeah, zooming in on a little bit where I decided to put the signature. We're almost there, folks. There it is.
It was worth the wait.
Yep. And
Mm.
that
Yeah.
might be one of the first times I actually curved my signature along with the design for.
Yeah. It's perfectly cups it.
Awesome. All right, let's do a little show and tell. Obviously, we've been watching D. Brad and myself and Matt Rodgers. We'll get their commentary on what they're doing, but let's jump over to Brian Lynch. If you want to show us your screen and what you've been working on here. Oh, nice. Oh, that's
Getting
excellent.
Grover's body. I don't know what him and Harold are going to be doing yet, but I always try to like draw the bodies face forwarding because I want to try to showcase that, and then I'll figure out the arms you can position whatever you need to. And what's fortunate about with me doing it digitally is I can layer it, erase what needs to be erased, etc. So
That looks awesome.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool, cool. Let's jump over to Matt Rodgers. How you feeling with the Rockstar Kermit and your choice of hand for the banjo? Oh, I just noticed because when we draw, I'm hosting, I'm looking at the screen, making sure things are going. I'm not necessarily paying attention until when I edit, but I see a little head popping up over there. If we have
Yeah.
maybe a little Jim Henson cameo there.
Yeah, and he has the rods on the hands, and
Oh, that's
it's a good,
awesome.
it's a good time.
But yeah, do you think you made the right decision with the banjo hand?
I think so. I
You're
think.
happy with it?
And I imagine I've never seen his arms, but I imagine that Jim Henson has hairy arms.
I'd
I
say
always refer to
probably.
I had Art Baltazar do a Doc and Marty commission for a friend, and you can watch that video on the All Yeah Comics YouTube channel. And he was having the decision right there in the moment, just being like, "Does Marty have hairy arms?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give Marty hairy arms." And it was just one of those things where he's like, "Yep, I'm just gonna do it." And that's just one of those creative decisions you have to not think too hard about. So yeah, I think you're right. No matter what you choose, you're right. All right, let's jump over to D. Brad. I saw a couple characters as I was peeking my head up. I think I saw a Big Bird in there, but can you kind of go through and kind of talk
Yeah,
about
I
the
think he
dog?
did the whole staff of Sesame Street while we were talking and everything.
Well,
Yeah, I think
I got my little big bird here, and then, so I kind of went off of
Little Big
that
Bird.
a little
Little
bit.
Big Bird.
Well, there is Little Bird too, yeah, yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's kind of come up with there, and then before
Oh,
that I did um, uh, the Great Gonzo
awesome.
I
Love
like the
it.
fluidity of that.
based on that. Yeah. And now I'm trying to do Oscar the Grouch from memory. See if I remember. That
Man,
way,
I,
Now we're gonna
I don't.
go.
That way, I don't depend too much on the reference. Because
one thing I've learned about Sesame Street is you
yeah.
can find out how old somebody is by whether or not Big Bird looked absolutely terrifying when you were a child.
Oh yeah.
So I saw those old things, like probably from what, like the late 70s. And I'm like, that's not Big Bird.
Oh, it'd probably be early '70s. The scary Big Bird. Yeah. He
I'm
had
like,
like a
oh,
really tiny brain.
yeah.
He was kind of dumb too.
Or-
Man,
I
Hey,
speaking of Big Bird.
yes.
Whoops. I wrote a letter to the performer of Big Bird,
Ooh,
Carol
Carol
Spinney,
Spinney.
and then he sent me back. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if he actually signed it because it's not signed by him. I want it to be by him,
Yeah.
but it was signed by Big Bird.
Well,
And there's actually a feather. Now, this is not
wow.
a picture. This is an actual feather. It's probably
Huh.
just like feathers they have lying around because,
sure.
of course, he sheds, right? He molts.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
yeah, it's pretty
That,
funny.
that that's amazing to have that kind of just memorabilia. You can buy a bag of feathers wherever, whatever, but to have it
Yeah,
with that and have the story to
yeah, it
tell
came
that's
from
fantastic.
yeah, it came from Children's Television Workshop. But
Well, then, like with the stories I've heard about, um, like whatever they used for the eyes, that company was like going out of business or something. So Jim Henson went and like bought out their entire stock, So they probably have like metric tons of those feathers. And even
yeah,
if
right.
that wasn't on the suit, it came
Yeah,
from a bunch of feathers that were eventually put on a suit. So
right.
it was going to
Yeah,
be used. I think Charles
possibly.
Schultz did the same thing. Like the pen
Yeah.
nibs that he used,
Oh,
that company was stopping. So he's just like, give me all of them.
yep, yep. And I just heard Jimmy Palmiotti tell a story. I think it was on Word Balloon, where I think it was a pen nib as well, and he had bought whatever was left of something, and then if he'll sometimes gift them to an artist friend, but had requested that he gets a drawing with that nib back or something. So, but yeah, I could totally see that happening. Um,
Yeah.
and speaking of Carol Spinney, I got to meet him. People will see the photo. I'll put it up in post right here because I don't have that one at the ready. But I had him sign my "Follow That Bird" poster, and
Oh,
so like my history when I think about Sesame Street and the Muppets, like I would definitely lean more towards the Muppets proper. And while I definitely watched Sesame Street, I don't have the memory that it was like something that I watched constantly. But Follow That Bird, however, which was Sesame Street's first movie,
Yeah.
that is something that I watched religiously. I just watched it last night as I drew a new piece, which I have right here. I love Big Bird, and when he dyed blued, and he's captured, and the whole third act of the movie. So while I was rewatching Follow That Bird, I did my take on that and put him behind some jail cell bars and stuff, um, and talking to Carol Spinney, you could hear Big Bird's voice in there, and
Yeah.
it was so crazy of just like feel like I was just like melting in front of him, where I'm like, oh, I'm hearing that voice. It was so comforting, and he was super awesome, super kind, and I wouldn't even notice because I was talking about my love for Follow That Bird, and I didn't even notice until I got home. But he signed my poster twice because he signed it for Big Bird with a quote as well as Oscar the Grouch.
Oh.
So
Wow.
it was super awesome. So I'm going to put that image up here in post so
Yeah.
people can see that. And D. Brad, if we want to compare signatures, if you or unless you just want to, you were talking about whether or not, you know. But yeah, we can go deep into that. Maybe it changed over the years because mine was way more recent than that one, obviously. But yeah. Anyways,
Well, I'll tell you the truth that I didn't get that when I was a kid.
oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. But it's still 20, it's from 20 years ago still.
And how about that story with the Ernie and Bert dolls scaring you? Was that from like last week, or was that when the timeline here?
I still have them, and I've been following some Muppet groups where they make Muppets or fix them. So I've been learning how I'm gonna go back and fix my puppets because I think they could use maybe a good cleanup.
There you
But yeah, I do, and maybe some more foam in their arms because their arms are kind of like there's like nothing there.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, that was when I was a kid that happened. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
To finish the round of the show and tell, this is where I'm at for my grumpy old men, Statler and Waldorf, connecting eventually Winter Muppet cards. I got the inking process done, erased some of my pencil lines. There's some smudging going on that happened in the pencil stage, but with what I color there, that will be buried out eventually. Or I'll just put a lot of whiteout snow in that one spot, bunch of snow built up on his arm. But yeah, so this is where I'm at for that stage. So I wanted to kind of complete that little show and tell. And because we are covering all of the topics and talking about puppets, we saw the intro from Kermit the Frog. So I'm going to bring them up here for everyone to see the my treasured Kermit puppet. And these are what? Are these is it Fisher Price ones from the 70s? Is that what trying to remember the brand of
Pretty sure Fisher Price did them in the 70s. Yeah.
yeah. So I have several. I brought two of them here, the ones that I at least prefer the voices for. But here's my Kermit the Frog here. And I really like this puppet, and I've always wanted to invest in a more modern and clean one, but this one has done good here. So yeah.
Awesome.
So that's the one I like there, and then the one that's been an ongoing joke here. Rogers has been waiting for this moment since we hit record. But yeah, I got Rolf the dog here as well. And
Awesome.
and,
Your Rolf is so good.
hey, thank you. I just kind of do Seth Rogen. But yeah, if anybody had any questions for Rolf the dog, you can ask him now. Yes or no questions.
Okay.
Did you enjoy doing the dog food commercials?
Okay. I was just trying to set up doing the okay thing. And one of the greatest moments is that I have an animal puppet too, part of the same.
Well, that's a good puppet. I always wanted that one.
And the reason why I did not bring him here, because it would end up messing up my drawing, because talking about puppets that need repair, whenever you operate this, the animal puppet that I have, is that your hand just looks like you just stuck it in a bag of Cheetos, and it's just full of like orange fuzz on the inside. And I don't want to breathe that in too much and fall over in the middle of this recording.
Yeah.
But I just know that this winter Muppet is, drawing is just going to be covered in orange
Right.
animal dust. So I left that one in the other room.
Good choice.
All right, so that is that round there. Let me see here. Now we've mentioned D. Brad and his childhood memories and drawings and stuff of Muppets. So I am going to go into this portion of the share screen and check out what D. Brad had sent me. And let's see here. I got to open them up on my screen first, and then I can go into the share screen. So you had sent me several things. We're going to start with the early ages and have you walk us through what we're going to see here as I continue to buy time, everybody. This is me killing time, looking for those D. Brad drawings. Here we go. What are we looking at here, D. Brad?
Well, that would be Sesame Street characters. I drew that probably, I think I was in kindergarten or the year before kindergarten.
That's awesome
So
that we're looking at this
top
right
left is Cookie Monster. Below Cookie Monster, Grover. Then we have Snuffleupagus.
Oh, bird.
And then if you go up to the top, I have no idea who that is. Maybe it's the Count, but
That's
something's wrong with his hair.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe something's wrong with his hair. Yeah. And then a Muppet. Oh, there's the Sesame Street sign beside him, it looks like.
Oh,
And then below them is Oscar in the garbage can. And beside him is a Muppet who is only in the 70s, Roosevelt Franklin.
oh.
I remember him.
I remember
Yeah.
Roosevelt Franklin.
Yeah.
I mean, I
he,
don't remember because I was born in '82, but still.
Yeah. I might have a record album. I have a bunch of my Sesame Street record albums up here.
Probably do.
And there's one, he was quite popular when I was a kid. I have a finger puppet of him. And that he was voiced by the original Gordon.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Yeah. There's actually been more than one Gordon. The bald Gordon that people mostly know is they had one Gordon for the pilot, and then another Gordon who also did the voice of Roosevelt Franklin, and then he was replaced by another guy for just a year, and then the bald Gordon came after that.
Cool.
Below him, he's colored the wrong color, but that's Bert. And then beside him is Harry Monster. And then the bottom right would be Ernie, but he's the wrong color. And then we got Big Bird and then Little Bird.
And speaking of if your Big Bird was scary or not, you grew up
Yeah.
with Scary Big Bird.
Yeah, with the tiny brain. Yeah.
That is excellent. All
That was
right.
awesome.
And then as we go through D. Brad's history, we have what age are we looking at for this Fozzie Bear?
That's only like 3 years ago. But that was playing a game where you draw something as fast as you can for 10 seconds. You have 10-second limit. So that's Fozzie Bear. That's why his proportions are a little weird and wonky.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very
It's
cartoony.
fun. It's fun to do that. Just draw it as fast as you can.
Yeah, whenever watching Art and Jamie Cosley on their videos, speaking of, I was gonna have this for the last show, and then I just ran out of time, but it's been sitting here. Is on one of Art and Jamie's drawing shows. They would do the draw by memory, draw as quick as you can, and kind of reveal it. And
Right.
they were drawing Grimace, and I won the auction to buy all of Art's cards. So I've had these Grimace cards sitting here.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
You beat me on that one, Anthony.
Oh, is
I
that
was
right?
bidding on that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, so he gave Grimace multiple hands and arms in these takes here. So he did a Grimace
Because
one.
that's the original Grimace. The original Grimace had 4 arms and stuff, 4
Yeah,
hands.
that's true.
Is that right?
And he was original one was he was a villain at first too.
Right? He was, what is he stealing, like the shakes or something?
Milkshakes, yeah, that's right.
I like Uncle O'Grimacy. He's the
Yeah,
real
Shamrock
hero.
Shakes.
Man, I just
The
found out.
Shamrock shit.
I was listening to like a throwback, like retro 80s podcast, and they were talking about stuff. I think the topic was green, and they brought up the Shamrock Shake. And I
Yep.
guess the Shamrock Shake it might still be, but it was always like super regional.
Okay, yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
guess
not
there's
everybody
people,
participates in it. Yeah.
yeah, I guess there's people that have gone their entire life without knowing about Shamrock Shakes.
Oh yeah. No, my girls we kept the tradition of Shamrock Shakes. They go with their
Did you
grandma and
guys, did you guys try those birthday shakes that they did for Grimace's birthday? Were they available by you?
I don't know.
They
I
were
did.
available here, and the day that I finally went to get one, there was like it ended the previous day, so I didn't get to try one.
Jeez. They were good. I think all those memes of people pretending to die from them, but it was like blueberry shake basically. Like blueberry
Oh,
was the
okay.
main thing, and then I think it had other berries in it, so it
Oh,
had that purplish kind of hue to it.
Right.
yeah,
I thought it was good.
I like it.
Shamrock Shakes are a beautiful green, the most beautiful green that you've ever seen. Do you remember that commercial, or was it
I
just in Canada?
I if I
I have
heard it,
no idea what you're talking about, buddy.
I think,
Okay.
I think you just made it up.
You can edit that out. And this I did. I was gonna send this to Louise, the actor who plays him, but he passed away before I finished it. But I did post it on his on a Sesame Street Classic website. So that's the
Nice.
very first appearance of Louise in 1971, November 15th.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And that's exactly how the skit went. He kept asking Cookie Monster questions, and he would always answer with cookies.
You think that dude was nervous? Like, oh, my first ever scene, and I have to be with Cookie Monster. I hope I can keep it together.
Pro- Probably, yeah, yeah,
I mean,
Like
I'd be nervous.
yeah.
Yeah, just why not just have me act with one of the whatnots in the background? Just
Yeah.
ease
Yeah, it was
me.
like the opening of the episode. I have the episode on DVD back here.
Awesome.
I was always a fan of Bob. Bob was always my go-to guy.
I met Bob when I was a little kid.
Really.
Oh
I went
yeah,
to a concert. He came to my city, and so I do have a signed record album by him here. And then I guess all the other kids went to go a different direction to meet him after the concert, and I went the opposite way and accidentally ran into him. My parents said that I could hardly breathe. I was so excited. I was like, 'cause he's meeting Bob.
I would have been the same way.
Yeah.
I remember his old people in the neighborhood and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. I don't know, he seemed kind of like he was the most approachable out of the humans on the show. Him and Mr. Hooper. Mr. Hooper was crabbish, but I always I felt like you could go up to him and be like, hey, he'd help you out with whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am like notorious among my friends that I get along really well with super crabby, mean old people. And I like to think that that's what it's from.
Sadler and Waldorf, you
Yeah.
friends.
They're my best
I've been
friends.
rewatching the first season of The Muppet Show. I'm on the second season now, and it took a while for it to become the show that we all remember it as.
Sure.
It had different voices for Miss Piggy and Janice. They go back and forth between different people doing their voices.
Piggy had a transformation too, like just to see it that it
A makeover. Yeah,
Yeah.
same with Gonzo and Fozzie. They had a makeover too next season. And there was some characters in the first season that you never see again.
And speaking on, the grumpy old men, Roger's best friends, Stadler and Waldorf. I say this often. Maybe I've said it on a past episode, but I kind of want to go around the horn if there's like a favorite, like Muppet joke that people can, remember, and anything that kind of pops in your head. I'll kick it off. Give people time to think of one if they have one. But Stadler and Waldorf. There's a moment that I don't know, somewhere in the show, wherever it was, but they're just like, you know what? That wasn't half bad. You're right. It was all bad. Oh, and like that is like I think one of the most brilliant executed written jokes. It is so good and obviously right up their alley. So that's what I think of. Brian Lynch, do you have one in mind? If you think of like it doesn't have to be like a word for word thing, but just like any kind of Muppet moment, humor, anything that pops in your mind.
The one that really kind of still makes me chuckle is from Muppet Christmas Carol when they go through Gonzo and Rizzo go through that whole task to get them over the fence and everything, and then Rizzo realizes he misses his jelly beans and he just walks through the little fence and he goes, what? I thought that's always made me chuckle. It still does every time I watch the Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's awesome. Matt Rodgers, is there a standout funny Muppet moment that you can think of?
He took my Rizzo from the Muppet Christmas thing. Like
Sorry.
that when no, you're good. When I think of the Muppets, I think of Christmas because I had this old VHS tape from when I was like 7 to 8 years old, where we recorded everything off of TV from Christmas. But my mom left all the commercials in it and everything. So I have like all those things. And so whenever I think of Muppets, I think of that because I watched that so much. Like I remember being really weirded out when Oscar the Grouch was like 6.5 feet tall on ice skates
Yeah.
because he's always so little. And then Bert and Ernie come out and you're like, why are they so big?
Yeah.
There you
I've
go.
seen a
Speaking
few of
of-
those stage shows.
Oh,
They
yeah.
did stage shows with the Muppets, and they're like big. It's people in costume. It is kind of weird.
I went to
Nice.
Another
Disney
birthday
on those.
tribute.
Happy birthday, Oscar.
Nice. Oscar the Grouch. What a great character.
Yeah, he was Carol Spinney too,
Yep. And
and he was orange in the first year. He was orange.
all right.
What?
Yep.
Right.
Rewatching Follow That Bird last night, and when Big Bird in the beginning, he's deciding to, Miss Finch is giving him a bird family to live with, and he's leaving Sesame Street, and he's saying his byes to everybody, and he says, bye to Oscar, and Oscar just stops, and he's just like, that was the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. Just,
Did they do
just like
another?
this-
So,
Go ahead.
did they do another movie where Big Bird went to Japan?
There was
It was a special. He went to China.
Yes.
China. Okay.
China. Yeah, it was a
I've
special.
got that
Though.
on DVD. I've got that on DVD somewhere.
I remember that one because they had the song where he learns how to speak the language. I think it says Ichiban in it at some point.
Yeah.
And I remember Follow That Bird. The one thing I remember from that one for some reason is like the map board where they move the little magnet of his car to show
Sure.
like where he's going.
I need to watch that again. It's been so long.
And what I love is, Kermit is a reporter in that one, and he's outside the Dodo's home and stuff, and he's reporting on Big Bird missing. Chevy Chase is in there as an anchor man. He cuts to Kermit. Muppets are always great with the cameos. Steve Martin in the original movie and as
Yeah.
the waiter and stuff like that.
I
You
was
gotta imagine they didn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brad.
well. Mine's a new topic, so you can go.
Oh, I was gonna say you gotta imagine how many people they probably said, "Hey, do you want to be in the Muppet Show? Or do you want to be on Sesame Street?" Now, easily they got yeses. I mean, like you said,
Right.
like Robin Williams, he had all these people that were just ready and willing to be a part of whatever goofiness the Muppets were doing, no matter what platform they were.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, this goes back to I used to like before VHS and all that. If I wanted to if I wanted to listen to a repeat of a Muppet Show, I would have to record it, the audio from the radio. There's a radio station we had that um, that played the TV network, the public TV network.
Huh.
So I had all these recordings of the Muppet Show. So a lot of them I could repeat a lot of the skits and sketches and songs. And then they released the Muppet Show record and the Muppet Show record 2, and they were all sketches, like recordings of the sketches. And so one I really remember is one where Fozzie wants Kermit to take part in his act,
Yeah.
and there's a big line of "Good grief, the comedian's a bear," and Kermit keeps coming in too early. That one I really remember. But my funniest moment with Fozzie the bear performing is it's a episode where um, Charlie McCarthy, he's a dummy with his ventriloquist is Edgar Bergen,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
he was a radio ventriloquist, so you can see his mouth move all the time. And so Fozzie wants to have be a ventriloquist for his act, and so he has this little dummy that he brings on stage. And I remember laughing so hard at this one because he didn't realize that he had to speak for the dummy. He's waiting for it to talk to him. So he sets up the punchline and then nothing happens. And then Kermit comes up on stage and whispers in his ear saying that he has to do the voice. And he even says that he has to do it without moving his mouth. And so Fozzie has his mouth super tight when he's talking for the dummy. And you can't understand a word that he's saying. It's just like, and I just remember us howling and laughing so hard at that skit. I forget how it turns out, and I don't remember what Statler and Waldorf said at the end though. But I'm gonna watch that one tonight.
Yeah, you'd mentioned the skits being on the album, so there is some CD soundtracks where they put in some of those skit moments. So that whole,
Oh yeah,
the comedian, the bear, and
yeah. Good
here,
grief.
no there, when,
Ah! Yeah,
that's the wrong here,
yeah.
Yeah, that's I love it.
That's a good one.
We'll make it.
And then, and if you want to take the Muppets into cartooning, I learned a lot of drawing from. I had this book called the Big Bird Busy Book, and the drawings in there were just so beautiful. And you can actually, if you look online, you can see a lot of drawings of the Muppet characters done by Jack Davis from Mad Magazine, and
Wow.
just like beautiful drawings. But you probably have heard of this book. It's one of the first books that has like comic book style for a storybook. The monster at the end of this book. Are you familiar with that one? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely a classic.
It's the drawings, and the artist that drew this one, his name is Michael Smolin. Michael Smolin, I think. And he did quite a few of these books. There's another one with Oscar, another one with Big Bird, that from the same era. I think it was published. This is from 1971, so it's been around for a long time.
When I was in kindergarten, my mom signed up for this thing, and we had to go to the grocery store like every 2 weeks to pick it up. But it was like an encyclopedia set that was all Sesame Street themed.
Yeah.
So like we would go and I would get the A's, and then like 2 weeks later we would go and I would get the B's. I still have them in a box in my basement because my mom was just like, "You have your own house now. Take all your crap."
And it had that Big Bird yellow plastic holder. I remember having the exact same encyclopedias. And again, the artwork was just phenomenal. And even as an adult, enjoying it,
Well, I ran into one of my greens not working out for me, so I gotta shift into my coat colors here, but I gotta start labeling some of these colors that are running dry on me before I commit to them.
I have a link to send you, Anthony. Remind me later. There's a new company on the scene that makes alcohol markers.
Okay.
and you can get a set of like 300 of them for like $220, and they come with a case, and like the caps are all labeled with the colors. Somebody that I've one of my Facebook friends linked saying it's my yearly time to buy markers, and I had never heard of the brand before. They sell like fine liners, they sell markers. It's like, can't remember the name. It's like something kind of Hawaiian, like ooh something.
Okay. Well,
Ooh,
there's a good chance that future
ooh
anthems remind you.
yeah.
When I hear you talk about this, I'm going to hit pause and then send you a message.
Looking it up right now.
I saw part of that Oscar the Grouch there, but you want to? How do you think he did on the Oscar by without reference?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it turned out pretty good.
That's cool.
I'm happy with it.
And Brian Lynch, how's your screen looking?
My screen is looking a little bit more fun. Again, not knowing what these guys are going to be doing. They're probably going to be talking, hanging out, like, hey, let's go save the street or something. I don't know. I kind of want them standing there, like, looking out, like we should do something about that kind of a look.
Yeah. And
So
can you talk about your process for some of the Herald strips on, like, where, like, when you have an idea, is that when you just start drawing, and then kind of what you're doing now where you just kind of see what happens from there, or how do you approach each strip, or do you have your solid joke?
well, I mean, like I said, if you look at the Instagram page, a lot of the things I'll do obscure famous birthdays. I'll do National Day of this. Yesterday was like Gorilla Suit Day. So, and I'm just thinking some of these are just so out there and fun. And I'll just do a quick sketch of Harold and try to mash up with whatever it is that I want to get through. Some of them obviously take a little bit longer. Some of them I'll just start drawing Harold in a particular pose that I might not have done before, and then try to incorporate that into whatever the daily art is and everything. So try to keep it fresh. I try to do them a couple days ahead of time, like looking ahead, like, oh, this day in comic book history, this happened or whatever. And because I was on vacation earlier this month, and I had started drawing Harold, and then the next day that I was ready to post this, it was like the debut of when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic came out.
Hmm.
And I caught such like a fever. It was a struggle to draw, and I still have to fix that draw. I never do draw. It could be so difficult, and I regretted not having something set up for that day. It was like one of the few times that I hadn't had something prepared, or wasn't able to just complete whatever I had been working on and everything. So some days it comes a little bit easier. The inspiration is just there. I mean, I think anybody who's drawn or created anything, you just know sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not, and you just don't know when the idea is going to be hatched.
Yep, there's been multiple
I'll
times
wait for
that
the dad joke.
there's multiple times that I sit down and I'm like, all right, time to work on Happy. And then I'll draw like 5 lines and be like, tonight's not the night.
Now with
This
Happy
is-
Astronaut and everything, you obviously, I assume you have a script that you're working from.
Yes.
Do you have a good idea as to what you're planning for that panel based on the script? Do you have little thumbnails that you use? What's your process for that?
What I do is me and Fife will like throw ideas back and forth, and some of them he'll incorporate, some of them he won't. And the way that he does it, he breaks it down by page, and then he'll break each page down by panel. He's like, all right, so panel 1, I view this as a large panel. So we have Happy doing this, and in the background we have this guy, and then he puts who's speaking. So what I'll do is, let me see if I can, let's see here. I won't open issue 4 because it's not out yet. And I've already deleted everything. Okay. I'll find a page in issue 4 that doesn't matter. One sec. All right.
So you're doing that.
So I got mad layers. I'm very scattershot when it comes to my process. So I'll be like, okay, I think this is done. No, I need to add something. No, I need to add this. All right, we'll delete everything except for my pencils. Because what I do is I rough every page out, and
Okay.
then I will go in and put more detail in it. So yeah. So like this is a page that's like the roughs. So you can see it's like super primitive, like not much detail going on. And then I go in and do the inks. And where's my panel borders? There we go. All right, so then I have just the ink. We'll get rid of my sketch layer. Yeah, so then we have the inks drawn in there. And then from that, you do just the flats. So you just have the flat color with no rendering. And then we add shading just to flesh that out. And then we add stars into the background. And then we add the glows from the planets in the background. We put effects for like fades and zooms. You know, so we have the sound effect for zoom on this panel here. Yeah, so it's he trusts me a lot. Like there's times where he'll have like 7 panels and I'll be like, this would work better as 5, and I'll combine a
Okay.
couple of the panels in. I don't know what I'm doing here. What have I done? What have I done? Yeah,
All ruined.
there's some more glows. There's some more glows. Yeah, and then we add all the lettering and all that good stuff. But then we're working on another project. As soon as I'm done with the art for Happy 5, the deadlines, man, like all the dates that you have to remember for this stuff just gets like so head spinny because it's like
Aerospace.
issue 5, which comes out in April. I had to turn in the covers and the plot synopsis for that issue to previews on December 8th.
Oh,
Oh wow.
So it's like, and then that will be in the February. That will be in it should be in the February issue of previews, and it'll be in that for a month. And then issue 5 will come out. So then I have until like March 20th or February 20th ish to have the art finished for it. And then I turn that in and then it goes to the printer and all that stuff. So there's like this huge delay to everything. So then as soon as I'm done with Happy number 5, we're doing our next project, which I don't know if we're saying what it is yet, but it's like secret, think 90s image, and you'll have a rough idea of what kind of stuff it's going to be. So then
Well,
I'll be
considering
doing
what you
that.
showed
Yeah.
earlier of your purchase.
Yeah. And that stuff for the scripting, he's just writing everything as a 2-page spread. So he'll be like, here's the script for pages or for like 1, and here's 2 and 3, and here's 4
so is that
and
a
5.
brand new comic or is it part of Happy?
It's a very loose spin-off based on a character that
Okay.
is in 3 panels.
Cheese guy, right?
Yeah, cheese guy.
Yeah.
You know, so our process, the long-winded process is
No, that's
yeah,
awesome. He had mentioned like he had reached out to one artist about a project that he wants to work on, and he was talking about how different it is, how each artist, how differently they want to, have the script to them. So
yeah,
I think it's just fascinating.
it's real. I mean, even just for me and him, like if you look at how we did like our very first issue, the one that we crowdfunded, and then you look at how we're doing these new ones, like we have changed our style of what works and what doesn't just in what, a year. So it's nuts. It's
It's
super
great. And
fun.
I will say I'm really enjoying what you guys are doing there too, by the way.
Well,
Just
thank you.
one of my favorite things to pick up when I'm picking up my subscription and everything. It's like always make sure if it's the Batman or this or that. Happy the Astronaut is always one of the first ones that I try to read. So,
Well, good. I appreciate that. It's funny when I'm making it because I'll be making one page and I'll be like, this is the stupidest comic that exists. And then like 2 pages later, I'm like, this is the coolest comic that exists.
now, do you bounce like some of these jokes, or do you think he does about people in his house? Because I know when I was writing Harold at first, and I'd be on the floor and I'd just be drawing, and all of a sudden I'd chuckle, and of course everyone's like, "What are you laughing about?" I'm like, "Well, this joke I just wrote," and then there's immediately regret asking what I just did, but I'm like, "Nah, too late. I got to share it with you," and then I show it to him, and if I get a laugh, I know it's good. If I get the eye roll, I know it's great. So I'm like,
see, I don't know what he does. He's a lot more like I've always made a point to call Happy all ages. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I don't view it as like a kid's book. And I don't want to speak for Fife, but I think because he has 2 small children, not that I don't have kids, but I think he thinks through that lens more than I do. So I think that's how he kind of aims it. So I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if he would like bounce stuff off of them to see how they react, whether or not to put it in. But I told him one time, I was like, man, I don't even think about my kids when I'm making this book. Like, I'm just making a fun book, and they like it. Like, whenever they see that I got my comps in, they'll be like, "Ooh, can I read one?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you be careful with it."
that might be slapped one day.
Right. But yeah, it's a hard line to walk because it's one of those things where, as a creative, I know this is a Muppets show. Welcome. You don't want to limit yourself. Like, I don't want to be known as like a kids comic guy, you know? Like, I want to make comics, but I don't want it to be a thing where because I drew a bunch of like family friendly all ages stuff that I potentially don't get approached to do other work that I would absolutely love to do. I don't know how well my style would really fit in with that kind of stuff because for this new project, I'm like having to relearn how to draw a lot of stuff just because I've never drawn in that style before.
Mhm.
I'm like, man, I don't know how cross-hatching works at all. What?
Future Anthony is really listening close on this conversation.
Sorry, future Anthony.
Speaking of Muppets,
We weren't talking about Muppets at all.
I have a question here. My brother Adam is a frequent commenter, and I open it up to the Instagram to send any questions. And his question is pretty simple: is Chewbacca a Muppet like Yoda?
No.
No. Definitively no. Do we have to go into the meaning of the word Muppet?
While that was happening, I saw Brian Lynch jumped out, but he's jumping back in.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but
Welcome back, AT&T's iPhone 4. How's it going?
oh yeah, so we're gonna have to rename that again, huh?
Our guest today is AT&T.
Our sponsor.
You may have missed a very important question, Brian. My brother Adam wrote in and says, "Is Chewbacca a Muppet like Yoda?" What are your thoughts?
No, it's a cost. Well, and I said that maybe prematurely because I'm like, well, there's a man in that costume, but then you think about Sweetums and you think about all those other Muppets that had people in them and everything.
See, I would
but
argue that Sweetums is not a Muppet.
Ooh.
Because Muppet is marionette and puppet. So, like, I would, even to an extent, Big Bird is not a Muppet.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
I'd say
he has a marionette hand, and and he's controlled like a puppet.
that is true. That's true. And I think Sweetums is probably there's probably arms in there controlling his mouth. Um, but yeah, Chewbacca is just a man in a suit.
Right.
And
Sorry to ruin
and Chewbacca was not made by the Henson Company.
also
Uh,
true.
we have another Adam that sent in a question. Um, we might know his last name when I ask Brian this question, but this Adam wants to know if there's a Harold and Oates team up in the future.
Ooh.
Adam Crone, which is a guest of ours in a past episode of Cartoonist by Night. So, yes, is there a Harold and Oates mashup in the future? Do they have a birthday coming up sometime soon?
Well, I mean, I don't think if you guys realize, but there's this rift between Hall and Oates right now, and
Yeah.
I have actual information that it's because Harold was talking to Oates about doing a co-op, and Hall just got a hold of it, and he's like, "I'm done." So I got to wait till the lawyers settle it all. But yes, there could possibly be a Harold and Hall, Harold and Oates, but I don't know that we're going to be able to do a Harold Hall and Oates. So we'll have to see.
Okay. Glad we got that addressed, though. So,
Also, I have to add in there, Adam Crone's awesome.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely, he is.
I love that man.
you're not
I'm
on the
not
fence right
ashamed.
now, Rodgers. You're not on the fence.
Oh, I am.
He might be on Adam's fence. We got to be careful.
You
Looking
can't
in,
hang out with
hey,
me.
All right. Looking at the show length here, before I go through very rapidly, because I have a lot of my Muppet art too. If we want to touch base again with Brian Lynch on your status of your drawing, if you want to show that for us.
absolutely. I think I've got them in the positions that I kind of want to have them in. And let me just do that and show off that. So I think the caption will be, we really should be doing something about that.
Love it.
So
I love it.
Great team up. Matt Rodgers, how's your Kermit looking? I've looked at it from time to time, and I'm just digging it. I love the Jim Henson inclusion, but you want to
Oh yeah, we'll zoom
look
out.
see at what's happening over there?
We got our Someday We'll Find It with a rainbow gradient background.
Oh, beautiful.
Someday we'll find it, the rainbow gradient.
But that was the one part, like, so the Jason Segel Muppet movie, I got it and I was like, this is awesome. The Muppets are finally getting their comeuppance, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
I was like, it's missing something. And then they sang Rainbow Connection, and I was like, this is a 10 out of 10 perfect film.
I would agree. I had a lot of fun working with Mr. Jason Segel and Amy Adams. They're two of my close personal friends, as well as Walter, my new, my next close personal friend. And yeah, that was a really fun movie. Thanks for
Do
watching.
they still do anything with Walter?
So
He was on Muppets Now.
yeah, so yeah, he would appear obviously in the Muppets Most Wanted, and then yeah, the Muppets Now he was in there. So he's had his time in the spotlight there for
Good.
that first movie, and then being a part of the second one. But yeah, he's being used. So
I was a big fan of that like office type show that they did for the Muppets where they were like working at a talk show, I think, or a
yeah,
night
it was.
show.
Yeah,
Um,
late night show.
That was so good.
I have a prop to show off that's related to Miss Piggy's talk show.
Oh yeah. I really like the Muppets Mayhem as well.
Yeah,
yeah, I can't believe they're not doing a second season of that.
I was never expecting it. I just thought it was just a one shot anyway. But
I would love to have seen more.
Ooh.
yeah, I agree.
Up Late with Miss Piggy was her talk show. That was the ABC
That's right. Yeah.
office style sitcom, and yeah, I thought it was very well done and very much a great modern take on the Muppet Show idea of the Muppet Show being like, all right, we're creating the stage show, doing an SNL type of thing, and then doing that same sort of thing behind the scenes production of a talk show. So I thought it was excellent.
Did you ever watch Muppets Tonight in the
That's-
90s?
I've seen some of it, but I know that's like one of those like long lost things that people like want. That
They're all on YouTube. There's a playlist. I can send it to
oh,
you.
well,
Ooh.
this will end our show as I'm gonna go watch. Yes, yeah. If you don't send me the link, future Anthony will remember when you tell me that in the
Yeah.
future.
And then I downloaded them all from YouTube too.
Um, all right. Status D Brad. You want to give us a quick highlight reel of what you've been working on since?
I bought like a brush pen, so I was just trying it out for hair. I don't like I don't like the face on Mike Grover. I kind of did a plan. That's just him panicking like he is in the book, but I may this might need a few tries.
There you go.
But and I don't know if you saw before that I did a quick try to from my head. This looks so much like like it was drawn by me. Okay, this is
Oh yeah.
this is
That's
Fozzie.
awesome.
Yeah, after seeing some of your original characters and such, I can definitely see the D Brad influence in.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Are there
Statler
any?
just said that the drawing looks a little flat, though.
Oh!
Sorry.
Are there any duck Muppets? I know there's chickens.
No, I think they've had them like as like secondary
Like,
characters.
There's penguins,
yeah.
but those are usually just thrown in the air. Like,
Yeah.
You want now? You were talking about scary Big Bird early on. How about those scary, not Muppet babies, but the babies that are Muppets? Those babies, literal.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Those babies are scary. I'm going to put up an image for the post video here
yeah.
because I don't have that set
They
up. But
are.
those,
trigger warning.
yeah, those babies are frightening. Last round of the show up. I think this is where I'm going to stop for tonight, just because I have some show and tell yet. But my grumpy old men, Stadler and Waldorf, connecting cards just by a little hair there. I was able to throw Statler's code over onto Waldorf's card a little bit there to do a little crossover. But yeah, so that's what's going on there.
No, that's cool, Anthony.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at a detail stage where I just have to concentrate when I'm not, talking and hanging out. So I don't want to go any further. I usually have to finish my stuff off air, but so to get through the share screen stuff, so a lot of my art is Muppet related. If it's not Muppets, it's Archie. And I've recently noticed that when I was looking at my table at my last convention, just being like, all right, I got to start drawing different things. And I started doing a couple more superheroes that I don't normally do. But here we go. I'm going to go down the line, not get too into detail because there are literally 22 of these. So So I'm gonna go rather quick, but this was a big bird that I did, my earliest one of my more modern day, early inking or drawing on a tablet and stuff. But big bird reaching for a big bird, reaching for a
Very
big bird,
surreal.
for a big bird. Um, so yeah, that was something that happened. Um, Going into the second one, this was a pencil drawing of Kermit and the banjo. I have a left-handed banjo playing Kermit
There you
based
go.
off
Yeah.
of an action figure that I have that I just posed and
Oh,
I used it as my life drawing. And
yeah.
so yeah, I have a digital colored version of that as well, but I preferred to show off that one. Then we're
Nice.
gonna go into my third one, which going into the Muppets adjacent, but we've got a Grogu because I was just looking through all my stuff and I'm like, you know what? I'll give a little shout out to Grogu. So tiny little Grogu there. And going into the next one, let's see. They're all numbered, but they disappear when I reopen the share screen. So I have to just kind of find where I'm at here. This one I did on an early episode of Cartoonist by Night. The right when the Muppets Mayhem show was coming out, and I did some Dr. Teeth. I did Muppets sketch cards, which were my first ever sketch cards, which I'll show off later. But then I wanted to compare it versus my digital work. So that was my digital take of Dr. Teeth. There's
Love it.
Thank you. And also doing a digital version of a sketch card of Janice. So I had talked, I think I did that one on an episode as well. So just showing that off in the final form. And once again, there's a lot of them, so I'm just going to start going through. Here is the gallery of the Muppets Mayhem, of the Electric Mayhem, rather. Um, Floyd and Lips and Zoot and Animal, of course, and joining the other two. So yeah, looking at that Dr. Teeth, that's where it started versus, my digital version of it. So that was that. Going through here. Next one. This was a gift for Emmett, who I had mentioned, my friend who had requested the Statler and Waldorf, which, if he is watching this, which he has watched some of our episodes, these are going to be yours, buddy. So I'm going to gift those to him when those are all done. But he loves Gonzo, and so I had Gonzo and Camilla reading some books, and the books are How to Be Weird.
How to be weird.
Yeah, how to be weird.
Good how-tos there. Going through, I did a couple construction paper sketches. So there was a
like
simple Kermit there on a construction paper. I did a
Love it.
Wolf the dog. Okay, there's a quick
Okay.
construction paper. Okay,
All right.
I finished it. And I'm like, all right, what? Oh,
Hey man, we're getting back together and we're gonna open the theater. You want to come?
okay.
That's great.
So great. One of my favorite Rolf things moments is he's telling a story, something. He's like, all right, it's getting late, I'm gonna go take myself for a walk, go home, my dogs are barking, go home, go to bed.
Take
but
myself for a walk.
but that line of take myself for a walk and go to bed. This was a recent post after seeing the Mean Girls musical movie based off
Yeah.
Mean Girls Broadway musical based off of the Mean Girls movie based off of the book called Mean Girls. So I
There's
did
a book?
I think I got that right. Looking at the Muppets characters and realizing that there's not a lot of female characters that are, at least are the spotlight characters. So I, of course, had Piggy and Janice and put Camilla in there. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw Sweetums in there. So I did. That was my Mean Muppets, Mean Girls mashup there.
Yeah, the first season had more.
Yeah.
It had a,
What's that
it had a
old?
female performer in the first season, but then she got replaced by the men.
What are the characters, the fancy like dancer characters? You still see them show up like very minor parts, like in the movies, but
Yeah.
I can't think of what their names are. But
Yeah.
just that fancy dress couple.
There's the old lady. The old lady, she had kind of an accent, and she would she was in charge of the costuming.
Okay. Oh yes. Yeah.
And then there was the one who was purple. She had kind of like a long beak and brown hair and glasses.
Okay.
And I think she may have been the one that did what Scooter ended up doing, calling on the
Being the
calling
gopher.
that yeah, when it was their turn to come on stage.
Oh sure, yeah. Here is an Emmett Otter Jughead. Jughead. Um,
Archie and Slip.
yeah. The Jug Band here with Emmett Otter. So I did that one on a physical card, and then I took it digitally, and there was a couple things I touched up, and then adding the snowboarder and a little extra snow in addition. But that was the digital take on that
I
one.
like that. That's good. That's
Yeah.
digital?
So it's mostly physical, but
That's what I thought, yeah.
yeah, the only the digital I did was like filters and a couple just like little touch ups here and there that
Oh, okay, around that side there. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
yeah, so mostly physical, but the digital made it a little pop a little more. So that is one of the few ones where I'm like, yep, this one's not being begged and boarded for a show. This one's staying with me, and I'm gonna get a frame for it. So
Nice.
I shared a little bit of it on one of the past episodes. I haven't posted these yet because I have a lot of them, but Selena plus Chef. So I did Selena plus Swedish Chef. So that's a
Yeah.
upcoming
remember that.
series that I will be showing off. And I'm on number 17 of 22. So we're almost there, folks.
Ooh.
I did a Drinking Bears series, so there's my Fozzie Bear. This one actually sold at my convention in December. So this
Oh,
one, I was happy to see that one go just because someone else appreciated it. So that was cool.
very good.
Fozzie Bear with the juice
Juice
box.
box.
Going back to a construction paper, there's just a giant face of Sweetums.
Oh, good.
That's awesome. I like that one.
Yeah, that one just kind of letting, kind of getting a little artsy with it and having fun with the whiteout pen and outlining things and just have a little fun. Did a mashup with a Swedish Chef and Mario for some reason. Uh, so I don't think I did any other Nintendo. I did the Peanuts and Nintendo ones, but this one just felt like it had to be done. Um, then they're here, more construction paper. During Halloween, I was rewatching a lot of the Universal Monsters movies, so I started to cast the Muppets. I did the amphibian from the Henson Lagoon. I did Gonzo as the mummy. I did a Dracula. I'm gonna say that's Constantine, because since I have two Kermits, I'll just say that's Constantine without the mole.
Right.
Uh, and then Piggy as Elvira and Beaker as Frankenstein's monster. I will say that at my last convention, my first three customers was the same young boy who purchased my Beaker Winter Muppet sketch card, came
Oh,
back
yeah.
to buy the Beaker construction paper sketch we see here, and came back a third time to buy the Beaker bookmark version of the Frankenstein
Oh,
line of
a
Muppets.
Beaker fan there.
Yeah. So that was my first three sales, and I told him that he made my day, and it's possible if he's watching right now. Thank you, young Beaker fan. That was awesome. I appreciate it.
Man,
Uh,
it's like you have a guy that's just like you. If somebody draws Silver Surfer, Anthony's there.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yep.
So
So
now, if you want to make a sale, just draw Beaker.
so this is my official announcement, but at my next convention, I only will be selling Beaker merchandise. It's Beaker everything.
Right.
Beaker all the way down, if you will.
Beaker Productions.
Here are my winter Muppets, which I'm going to be adding
Oh,
Statler and Waldorf to. So I put all of them
nice.
together there. I had a lot of fun doing those, and I have a
Yeah.
feeling I'm just going to keep doing those throughout the year. As I just anytime I want to draw Muppets, I'm just going to keep drawing.
Yeah, I kind of like it when you like if you have the option of print with all of them on it too.
Yeah. That I've been thinking about that, and some of these have sold. So I've tried to take some good pictures of them because Kermit has sold, and then the Beaker is the
Mhm.
one that I just mentioned that kid had bought. So that's been fun. It's just that I've gotten to the point where I don't remember if I have some of these now anymore, which is
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Rizzo Rat rules. Sorry,
Rat rules.
Rizzo.
Oh yes.
Rizzo Rat
Rizzo
Uh,
rules.
Rat rules.
Here's a digital drawing of Kermit and Piggy. This one was based off of seeing a lot of celebrity photos that whenever like the guy celebrities and their wives are taking a photo, the guys are always like looking at the camera and the wife is always kissing them on the cheek. And I've seen
Uh,
there like a series of them where I'm just like that just seems to be a trend where it's just the guys looking at the camera and not looking at their partner. So that's what inspired this one of reversing it and putting Piggy in charge there front and center and having Kermit on the side. So that's where that came from.
very good.
Almost
Beautiful.
yes. Um, almost done here. Well, here's the what I showed off in person, but there's my blue Big Bird from Follow That Bird.
Yeah. Is it Jailbird?
Yes, I haven't named it yet, but I think it's now named. And looking at everything else, oh, the Sweetums I showed, and because it's lost on my desktop, this is where I left it. So
There you go.
there are so many
You
open
should,
photos, so
you
it's
should
so
print it like that now.
so
Sweet bums.
so I think I'm going through. I think that was everything, and I think I showed everything that I had prepared from Brian Lynch's share screen. Oh,
Yep.
there's one more here. This will be the
Ooh.
end of the share screen lineup. Brian Lynch, what inspired you to do this one?
Oh, there's this little known comic called Kid Slapshot, and I enjoyed that one as well by Troy.
Yes.
And at the time, I was focusing on Harold Skulls. I think I had just finished like Skull Clover,
Hmm.
and it was a matter of I'm like, well, Kid Slapshot's sidekick is Skull. I'm like, so just had some fun with it.
Awesome, man.
Nice.
Yeah, Troy couldn't be with us for this recording, but I had to make sure once I saw the Kid Slapshot in your feed, I'm like, yep, we're definitely going to highlight
Kid
that one.
Slapshot rules.
But
Who's
I'm
in-
gonna.
Who's in the who is in that jar?
I forget
Hold on
what
here.
the character's name is.
Hold on here. Oh yeah, the Slapshot character's name you're saying.
The Dilsey?
Right.
Yeah. And are you
Sorry,
asking?
I just came back. When you had that picture up, there was a special cameo in that jar.
Oh, that's Harold's skull.
Yeah.
I had to
So
find the image again.
powered by the Hot Wing.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, it definitely is pretty genius redesign there to include the Hot Wing. I like it.
Up justice.
Dilsey.
And then if you don't mind, I'd like to. I found a couple pictures you didn't see. They're on the Instagram, but
Oh, Floyd. Floyd
Nice.
that
Pepper.
was for Muppet Treasure Island tribute.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
Starring the great
Talking about
Tom Curry.
Bob.
Hey.
Bob.
I
Who
did
are
that
the
right
people
after he
that-
passed.
Yeah.
Bob died.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to
Who's
be.
in the
Yes,
90s?
Harold.
Yeah.
Ah,
So did Louise. That's hilarious.
And then again, another piece that I did with the whole Jim
Ooh,
Henson Dr.
psychedelic.
Seuss tie-in.
ooh, yes. Oh, that's
Who's-
right. I just saw the Fraggle in there, and I had some Fraggles, but I must have missed that in my.
Who's the red? Who's the little red guy? Is that Telly?
That one is Watkins from those coffee commercials.
Yeah. See, I've only ever seen him in black and white, so I didn't even know that he was red. But I was like, that looks a lot like the little angry guy.
Oh yeah. Look what Deep Brad's holding up there.
Nice. I remember those.
Dun, 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 dun. Bam, 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 bam.
I've been rewatching those on Amazon. Not Amazon, Apple TV.
I was always obsessed with the Doozers, and I always wanted Doozer toys, and especially those clear plastic blocks that they had that they built everything out of.
Fraggles eat.
The stuff that no other kid ever wanted, hence why they never released them. But I was
No,
like,
I think
just
that was a
want
missed opportunity.
Right, I
Because
just
I
want
mean,
a
you
big
have
box of
Legos and all these
clear-
other sets.
clear
Next.
plastic cubes, please.
This one, I forgot to show this one off, so I
Nice.
Ah.
did a set of my construction paper, and these are the ones that I just draw really quick and throw up for $1 at the conventions and stuff. But yeah, once I saw that Fraggle and Brian's drawing, I'm like, that's right. I know I had Fraggle somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so that finish. Oop, there we go. Perfect.
Yay.
Gonna throw some background in there and
Great heroic poses there.
Love it.
So,
Super Grover is hilarious. I love him.
as we wrap up here, looking at the time here, there are some products here that Brian Lynch offers. I will show off an awesome Harold sketch card that was burned off there with the hot wing. So it looks good
Oh,
up against the black curtain here.
that's risky. That's risky.
Oh, did he disappear here?
He
Sure.
did.
He left
He-
right when I.
He's like, oh, we're wrapping up here. Okay, bye.
Oh, yeah. Bye. he's been gone for about an hour.
Oh man. Oh yeah, I got missed messages. He goes, "Thanks for having me." From 4 hours ago. Oh, here he comes here. He's back.
I am really sorry about that.
That's all right.
You
I'm
do
so
not
sorry
need
about
to
that.
apologize.
We'll have to watch the
AT&T.
episode because we had some fun with the reasons why you took off. So
Oh, That was a fun one to make.
So
I
yeah,
really enjoyed that.
And then I said, that's risky. And then we said, oh, wait, Ryan's not here to answer.
um,
You gotta go put out some fires.
uh, and actually, I'm going to go back to my board screen because I think I can show it off better there. So to kind of advertise Brian Lynch and the work that's been put out there, here's some mini comics. I turn that around.
Oh,
So
neat.
if you want to kind of narrate this as I show them off, just to kind
All
of
right. So the first one is called the comic. That's the one that is in your right hand. And I had learned how to make these based on a program my daughter had did at our local library, and I gave those away at Aya Comics during Free Comic Book Day. Um, so that's 2 years old, two free comic book days away ago. And then the one in the left, I had to do a sequel, so I called it the Comics. And we're heralding that comic book character. We're now going back for Free Comic Book Day, and again giving them away at Aya Comics.
Nice.
What will the third one be called?
That's a great question, and I think I only got a couple months to come up with it.
and I also have this here.
That one I did. I believe that was 2 years ago, and Harold and his Hot Wing of Justice goes to Chicago's to see 2E2. And so I kind of took the Chicago mascots and some of my characters. You got the comic book guy, you got Matt Chow with just a tea bag, Barbie Queen Sauce, and that little ant character is Lance Cyborg. So they all kind of go into C2E2 and have adventures and kind of like experience what we experience from autograph signings. It is kind of like, it could very well have been an advertisement. Billy D. Williams was there that year. I got to show it to him, and he goes, "That's nice." And only a Billy D. voice that I can't impersonate.
You handed it to him and he just looks at it and says, well, what do we have here?
He's like, "Well, hello there, Chewbacca." All right, this is my first self-published book. Took a lot of my Instagram's comics that I really enjoyed. Harold and his Hot Wing of Justice social interaction. I've been very fortunate where that's actually gone into a second printing.
Beautiful.
Where I've made the cover orange, and if it goes in the third printing, I'll make it yellow. So beyond that,
The
And
final
now-
one, black.
And now there's something else here that is I wanted to
Oh,
save
yeah.
it at the very end because it's my favorite thing in the world.
It's the biggest regret of my career.
Yes. Let's I want you to tell people what Project Pumpkin is here.
That was so much fun to reach out to a bunch of artists that I knew and I didn't know. I was able to reach out to local artists in the Chicago area, regional artists like yourself, Anthony, Fife, Troy. I reached out to Matt, and yeah, you missed out on it. But the good news is that besides them, I've got an international artist, Mike Hardikin, out in the book. So I mean, it was just a fun thing. I wanted to reach out to artists, have them draw my pumpkin character, Jokin, which Joe, the manager of All Yeah Comics, absolutely dislikes, but it's really gotten a life of its own. And I am thankful for. I had one of these little characters here as well, hanging up in
That's
the
awesome.
All Yeah window. And I really am excited with it. Because some artists had dropped out, and I knew that would happen. I had to do some pages, and that South Park homage was one of the pages that was almost last minute add, and it's become one of the most popular pieces that people comment on. I'm grateful for that.
You're welcome.
So the good news is I know D Brad's reached out to me saying, how do I get involved with that there? And I am going to be putting out a second book. I don't have a deadline just yet, but I do want to have it in time for Halloween. So I'll definitely be reaching out to you, Matt. I would absolutely be honored if you had time to do something. And the theme's the same. Just pick out your favorite comic book cover, your favorite album cover, your favorite statue painting, something that when people look at it, they'll be like, hey, I know what that's from. And you just draw
Yeah.
joking in it. And oh no, that guy was seen walking around C2E2. Be careful of him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll definitely be in the next one. Now
I
that I've
appreciate it. Like I
seen
said,
how popular the first one is.
I'm just about sold out of it, and I didn't realize that because
That's
I was
awesome.
looking for some of the copies just to have on hand to show because I wasn't sure what Anthony was going to bring. And I looked, and I think I got probably about 7 or 8 copies out of a 50 print run. So
Oh wow.
that might be going into a second print too, maybe in time for the second issue. So
Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
And then I think the last thing on my pile here before we go into plugs is I had this sitting here where I had done my take on Harold with Action Cat. This was at one of the events, pre-comic book day, Oh Yeah Comics of 2023. So I was just drawing a bunch of things. So yeah, that was my take on that one there. And yeah, the pile is empty now. For any of those things that I've seen, if things are still available, is there a way that people can reach out to you if they want any of that stuff?
yeah, the easiest way is I have you can email me at happeningofjustice@gmail.com. My Instagram page, which I put on conveniently on the back of each comic, is at Howling of Justice. Always can message me. That's actually how I've been able to sell a couple nationally here, and shipping out to North Carolina, Wisconsin, and stuff. So happy to work out with you, whether it's PayPal, Venmo, whatever. Figure it out. I'm hoping one of my goals this year is to have a store online or at least a website to kind of showcase some of the stuff. So hopefully that'll come down the pipe somewhere.
All right, and that information, I threw the QR code up there, which may work on a TV screen or a tablet or something. I would assume so. So if it does, you can scan that there. Otherwise, I will have the information along the bottom in the post in the editing so that they can reach out to you. That was it for questions. That was it for show and tell. We covered all the drawings there. Had a lot of fun. There's
Absolutely.
always more time to talk about Muppets. There's always more time to talk about Brian Lynch because the pumpkin to me I think was just a tease. I saved it for the end there. I think there's a lot more we can dive in just about the pumpkin. That could be a topic in itself. But so yes, does anybody else have anything that they wanted to say before we kind of wrap this up?
You got anything, D Brad?
No.
Just want to
I
make
didn't.
sure before I just
Yeah.
pull the plug on the show, and then you're like, wait. So
I gotta
I'm
do
just gonna
happy
wait till you're
plugs.
almost done saying goodbye, then I'll do that.
Yeah. But
So-
I'll go ahead and plug. So it's out of previews now, but it is on KeenSpotShop.com. You can pre-order Happy Astronaut number 4. We have my cover, which is cover A.
yes.
We have Franco did the guest cover for number 4. So we got Franco's cover. We got my cover C, which this one is on hollow foil. So it's going to be super cool looking. And
Do
then
one
I
on
did
light bright. Do a light bright
Yeah.
one.
Then I did my usual weathered where I make it look all beat up and crappy. And then Troy has a pin up on the inner back cover of that one.
Barbarella.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Then hopefully we'll be able to announce some other cool stuff soon. I'm stoked.
That is going to do it. Thank you very much to Brian Lynch for joining the Cartoonist by Night. It was a blast to have you.
No, I mean, I
Absolutely.
a lot of fun. Subject that I love, the Muppets. Great guys to talk about this stuff with, and just to draw along with you guys. I'm really appreciative of it. Thanks for having me on as a guest artist and everything, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon.
I'm
Excellent.
glad that you like the Muppets
Awesome.
because it would be really weird for you to bring that up as the topic if you hated them.
Tonight,
Right.
I want to talk about how much I hate the Muppets.
Oh no, Anthony, it was an ambush on you. Sorry.
I would not allow it. I would not allow it. So, on that note, we're going to end the show. And I'm going to end it by showing off some salt and pepper shakers that I had sitting here the whole time. Good
Oh,
night,
very-
everybody. Thank you for watching Cartoonist by
Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Catch y'all in the laters.
Yeah, got it. Can't get the thing closed.
Shamrock shakes are a beautiful green, the most beautiful green that you've ever seen.